I am really concerned at the explosion in government expenditure. It is truly staggering. It's unjust because we're spending our children's money.
Yeah.
And we will be crimping their lifestyles. We're worried about ours, understandably, because we're making a mess of economic policy. But it's showing up in all sorts of ways. One that staggers me is that in a very tight job market, 82% of employment during the years of the Albanese government of new employment has been in the public sector.
The so-called care economy.
Which does not,
Subsidised
yes, but it's
jobs.
not an economy.
It's not, no.
It's important. Nobody argues that. But the wealth for it has to be generated by the private sector.
Correct.
And those numbers tell you the private sector is not doing well. The settings we have in place tell an overwhelming story that our trajectory is to much lower living standards in the future. That's the blunt reality.
And again, this is why the recent campaign and its outcome is such a disappointment, because while we did occasionally acknowledge that you can't subsidise your way to success, you can't tax your way to prosperity, that in the end the foundation of wealth is not government activity but private business activity, we didn't prosecute the argument and we didn't have the policy to make all those things come right. And that's why there is such a challenge ahead. But as I tried to suggest earlier, A, we can succeed, B, we must succeed, and if enough of us have a go, we will succeed.
The Liberal Party can rebuild itself quickly, do you think?
The Liberal Party has gone through many periods of waxing and waning. A catastrophic defeat. We secured only 32% as a coalition of primary votes. But we have come back from equally bad periods before. I think it was the 1978 election in New South Wales when we had 35% as a coalition, and the Labor Party, I think, had something like 60% of primary votes. So we can come back, but it is going to take a lot of effort by people of conviction and courage over the next few years.
Well, my plea would be that we don't get lost in debates about conservatives versus progressives and all of that sort of stuff. We actually focus on what needs to be done to secure the nation's future. Because I meet people on both sides of the left-right divide, reasonable centrist people, but either side of that divide, who recognise the nation actually really faces serious issues. They were not discussed.
Yeah.
I believe that that is appalling.
Yeah.
They must be discussed, and that must be the focus. Not point scoring, not petty arguments.
As I understand
about where you position yourself.
As I understand it, John, conservatism is essentially pragmatic. We see a problem, we try to solve it, or at least make it better. It's pragmatism based on values, and those values, I think, are all but universal, and they don't change from one generation to the next.